Welcome to Money Secrets with Bill and Mike.
I'm Bill Alexander.
And I'm Mike Tove. You know, Bill, today I think we're going to talk a little bit more about where we come from. I have a financial services firm called AIN Services, and you're an attorney.
I'm an attorney, and my law firm is W.G. Alexander and Associates. We're located in Raleigh, and our law firm focuses on estate planning, elder law, and asset protection planning. And today I think we need to really talk about asset protection and what's the foundation that every family needs to put in place. When I started practicing law 40 years ago, Mike, in the community, people would say, we just don't have enough doctors. But I never heard anybody say, we need more lawyers. Now, why do you think that is?
Well, but one of the things that everybody thinks, and I know I get this all the time with my financial clients, is that they think that all lawyers are about helping somebody sue somebody else.
Well, there are an awful lot of them who are, and that's unfortunate. When I went to law school, there were 4 law schools in North Carolina. Today, there's double that number, and we've got all sorts of young attorneys coming out that are starving. They are looking for their lawsuit, if you will. Yeah. And unfortunately, for those of us who are trying to do right, anyone can be sued for anything.
That's right.
And unfortunately, even if you're innocent, even if you've done everything right, people look for deep pockets. And so when they sue one person, they sue everybody.
Right. And of course, that's going to be what we're going to cover today, I think, because protecting your assets is more than just worrying about markets crashing or anything like that. You have to protect them for yourself.
Well, and it's not all about legal doctrine. It's about having liability insurance.
Right.
That is the key foundation to any asset protection plan, whether you're rich or whether you're poor. Everyone needs a certain amount of liability insurance. And we're very fortunate today to have a wonderful guest that our folks will want to listen to.
Right. So we're going to come back to that. We'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. And Bill, we have a very special guest today, Donna Stoyanovich of Carey Insurance Group.
I'm excited about Donna being with us because she, not only Donna, but her entire agency has a fabulous reputation for client service. And it's really important for us to let our audience know about how important liability insurance is and how it works, because that's the foundation block for any asset protection plan.
So welcome to the show, Donna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Carey Insurance Group. Tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you work with clients.
All right. So we've been in operation in Carey for over 30 years, and we are a personal lines and business insurance agency. We have a huge clientele, and we are very efficient at what we do, and we take pride in making sure our clients have asset protection.
That's what it's all about.
Now, you know what's interesting is because you do property and casualty.
Correct.
And when most people think about those types of insurances, they're thinking about insuring their home, insuring their car.
Right.
But isn't a car one of the biggest sources of liability?
It is. Because, so that's why it's important making sure that you have enough coverage and liability to protect your assets, as well as adding an personal umbrella policy on top of both your home and auto, just to give you that extra protection against lawsuits personally. And for minimum cost, you can do that.
Well, clearly your car is the one area that every family has where, at least in North Carolina, where you're subject to a lawsuit if you cause injury.
That's right.
And it's the most common lawsuit, quite frankly. So, Donna, first of all, tell us, how does automobile insurance work?
Okay.
What do I need when I come to you for automobile insurance?
Okay. First, you look at your liability coverages to make sure that those are sufficient. So making sure that you have enough coverage if someone were to sue you, that your assets are protected, as well as your under and uninsured motorist coverage, because that helps you in case someone injures you who's not insured properly.
Well, I know in North Carolina, to drive a car, you're required to have liability insurance, but how much insurance is required by the state?
Only 30,000, 60,000.
That's not much.
It's not.
No.
Won't get very far.
Now, what occurs to me, though, is that there's a lot of people that are coming through North Carolina, not from here. So what's the chance that somebody just on the interstate is from out of state that doesn't have even that much? Isn't that possible?
Absolutely.
Well, let's say that I want to buy $500,000 of liability coverage. Am I automatically covering myself if a person with only $30,000 runs into me and it's their fault and I'm injured? Am I only going to be able to get $30,000?
No. If you, when you buy your liability insurance, making sure that your uninsured motorist is either matching or higher. In the state, we can go higher on uninsured motorist.
So that's an option, it's not automatic.
That's
I
correct.
think it's important for folks to know that, because there's so many folks who are driving out there with the minimum coverage, and that's it. And
right.
for those of us who have a little more to protect,
That's right.
we have to buy additional insurance to protect ourselves from those folks,
Correct.
as well as those who have no insurance at all.
That's correct. So making sure that your insurance agent is advising you on what to buy and making sure that your uninsured, underinsured exposure is covered is very important.
We did a show on not being a do-it-yourselfer, but isn't there an awful lot of folks out there that are saying you can buy this insurance or that insurance just through the TV, internet? We've got operators standing by call today and all of that.
Yes, yes. And it's very dangerous because, especially for younger people who are starting out and they don't understand what they're exposing themselves to, and they're buying, oh, just give me the minimum I can get by with.
Well, that's kind of a common thing, isn't it? I mean, everybody thinks that they're invincible, that nothing bad's ever
Right.
going to happen to them. And
That's correct.
unfortunately, not everybody can be on that lucky side of the equation, right?
That's right.
Well, I think it's important that everyone get advice from folks who know, because I have no doubt that the average liability in an automobile accident is far more than $30,000.
Yes.
What do you think that number might be?
At least $1 million.
Wow. That tells you an awful lot. Well, let's say that I've only got $500,000 of liability coverage on my automobile. How do I get that $1 million?
So you would get that through buying what's called a personal umbrella policy, and they range, most standard companies range those from 1 to 5 million.
Are they very expensive?
No, not at all. No, that term expensive depends on who's paying, but the average cost for $1 million worth of liability is about $200 a year for two cars and a home.
Well, that's dirt
And that
cheap.
and that would include more than one driver in the home then?
2 cars and a home.
Yeah, wow.
Now, when you start adding in young, inexperienced drivers, those rates can go up to in the 300 range.
Sure, but it's still the most important insurance
year.
you can have. I know when we come back, we'll need to dig a little deeper into how
right.
this works. It's so important for folks.
Okay, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So, Bill, a couple $100 a year for $1 million of coverage, that doesn't seem like an awful lot given what you're
Actually,
getting.
it's dirt cheap, and it's something everybody should have, no question about that. But one of the things I think folks might be interested in is, what's the cost of litigation? How does that work? You've been in an accident, maybe it was your fault and you're being sued. Does your insurance company help you at that point?
Okay, so with a personal umbrella policy, there's the litigation cost or that side of the umbrella policy. So with the umbrella policy, you have your $1 million worth of protection to protect your assets, as well as your underlying coverage on your automobile and your homeowner's policy, which is generally anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 on both of the home and the auto, and then they put the umbrella on top.
Well, it seems to me, though, that if I'm being sued, then I'm worried about how much that judgment could be. And I would think the insurance companies are worried about that as well. They want to limit that as much as they can because they have to pay it, don't
Right.
they?
That's right.
Well, in most cases, doesn't the insurance company provide the attorney for the defense?
They do.
Okay.
They provide your defense, and that does not come out of that $1 million. That's in addition.
Well, I think that truthfully it's a two-edged sword because people have to understand that the insurance company is primarily protecting the insurance company.
That's right.
Well,
And that's why they're paying for it, because
Yeah.
they're protecting themselves.
right.
And it does protect the folks. In some unusual cases, I do think it's helpful for individuals to have their own attorney in conjunction with the insurance company's attorney.
But I think one point that might get missed here is that, because we're talking about autos, but an umbrella policy covers a lot more.
Yes.
Basically anything.
Yes.
So if I have an umbrella policy to protect me from whatever happens on the road, but somebody comes to my house and they trip on the porch and they fall and they bust their keister and they sue me for that, the umbrella policy protects me even there, correct?
That's correct.
And it works the same way in terms of having that umbrella, if you will, over all of the different liabilities where you
Yes.
have it. But now, can you have insurance with 3 different companies and have an umbrella policy, or do you have to have it all with one company?
The insurance companies like to have it all under one.
Well, they like to.
And
Well-
the reason for that, I mean, there is a reason, it's obvious, right? That they
Sure.
have control over the whole liability exposure.
Right. Actually, I've never heard of you being able to get umbrella except to cover those policies
Right.
that the underlying company also covers.
Right. You can, but it's,
I'm sure it's really expensive if you do it otherwise.
But isn't also, from the insurance company's perspective, about risk pooling, is that if they've got your insurance for home and car and umbrella, the probability that you're filing claims in all 3 areas is very low, as opposed to I'm going to just buy a policy for this. The question might be, well, what aren't you telling us?
right,
Right.
right. Having control over the whole thing is much
Well, a
easier
question
for them.
that I get asked that I'd love to push off on you is how much umbrella coverage should I have?
Okay. So umbrella policies are, like I said, from 1 to 5 million in a standard company. You can get higher, but that is going normally outside of the standard. And
That's going to
home and
Lloyd's
auto
of London, I
company.
take it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So the best way to do it is to add up your assets. And once you add up your assets, you have an idea of what your exposure is.
Well, at least from my perspective, years ago we said $1 million was enough, but that was back at a time where you never heard about $1 million verdicts. But $1 million verdicts are pretty common. So is $1 million really enough for somebody of wealth?
No, no.
Well, I've also heard the flip side, and that is that that if you have too much umbrella, then you're just painting a bigger target on yourself. Have you?
Well, just having assets and having wealth is a target. So protecting them is what you need to do.
So the question then is, and I'm sure a lot of folks are wondering this, you hear it on TV, well, it doesn't matter how much you're worth, they can still sue you for billions of dollars. I mean, they can just pick any number randomly out of the hat.
Well,
But
attorneys
that's not-
always pick a big number.
Right. But can they really sue you for more than you're worth?
Oh, absolutely, they can
Yeah.
sue you for more than you're worth, and that's a pretty scary thing. But You know, now I'd really like to talk about business
Okay.
insurance because that's another big area for liability. You know, and of course this is where the lawyers need to be protecting themselves from lawsuits, but you have physicians and architects and just regular business folks that have drivers out on the road and the like, and of course when we're talking about you know, the trucks on the road, you know, if they cause an injury, then it's not just personally liable, but the business is liable as well.
That's
so
correct.
how does one protect themselves, Donna?
Again, umbrella insurance is very necessary for businesses. And business people don't understand that. I mean, people look at insurance and think of, oh, it's just more expensive and more expensive. But your exposure, what you're doing out there in the public can be easily taken from you. So just having a business umbrella policy.
Well, what other insurance other than business insurance and umbrella? Because I know that businesses can have internal liability as well. So
Right.
what do we have for that?
So general liability, and then there's professional liability, or E&O, commonly known as. So general liability insurance is to protect your business from any bodily or property damage that you might cause.
What about employees who get hurt on the job?
That's workers' comp. That's another type of insurance. So there are several different types of insurance that you need, and you need somebody to advise you on what the best thing is to
You know
carry.
what, Donna, we're probably going to have you come back and talk more about these things, because I think there's another couple of shows in that. So,
There could be, because
yeah.
it's very broad.
Well, when
So
we come
anyway.
back, we can basically give folks the money secret regarding
great
liability
idea.
insurance.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So we'll be right back. And we're back. Donna, I know you've had a lot of experiences in some of these. Can you just share with us one of your stories?
So I've, over the years, seen a lot of different ways personal umbrellas work. And one of the worst ways that I saw it work, it was very sad, but was a mother and a daughter, and she was about 6 weeks pregnant. And they were driving, and the mother was driving the car, and she caused an accident, which in turn caused the death of her daughter and her unborn child. With that, the mother who was driving had a personal umbrella policy of $5 million. And because it was the mother's fault, she caused that accident, her son-in-law was given the maximum limit on that umbrella for both the death of her daughter and unborn child.
Wow.
So
Well-
money doesn't help everything,
No.
of course, in that case at all, but it certainly helped him get through some of the expenses and the hardship of that.
But the bottom line is that kind of accident can happen to anyone.
Right.
And the truth is that you don't know, I mean, just because you have an accident, you don't know what kind of liability that you can actually create.
Right.
Another issue, very quickly, with a lot of folks is so many people in North Carolina own their vehicles together. In other
Right.
words, husband and wife. And I keep telling them, no, don't do that, because in North Carolina, if you are an owner, then you cannot collect from the driver who is negligent, which would be your spouse.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, if the spouse who owns the car drives and you don't own it, you can actually collect for your injuries against your spouse
Great.
as long as you're not an owner.
So, Bill, I think the secret here is to get a good advisor.
Well, it's to recognize that liability insurance is complex, and it's not just about the lowest cost. Cost is important to everyone,
Yeah.
but it's about having the right insurance for your need, and the only way you're going to get that is with a good professional advisor. Donna, I know you're an expert on it. Carey Insurance Group is such a fabulous organization.
Thank you.
How do we get in touch with you?
Okay, so there are a couple of ways. Our telephone number is 919-467-1559, and our web address is www.careyinsurancegroup.com.
And I'm sure that you would enjoy folks giving you a call and mentioning the show.
Absolutely.
And I'm Mike Tove. I own AIN Services, which is a financial services firm. We do insurance, although different from yours. We do the life insurance, the financial side of things, but we also do the investment side of things. And we can be reached at 800-363-2296. And our website is www.ain-services.com.
And I'm Bill Alexander, the founder of W.G. Alexander and Associates, attorneys in Raleigh, which focuses on estate planning, asset protection, and elder law. You can also listen to my radio show on Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock on WPTF. It's Asset Protection Today, and we go into many of these same issues on our radio show. But
yeah, and it's funny because I have a lot of clients that have been listening to you. So
well, I have a lot of fun with that.
I would encourage everyone to tune into that as well.
And I'd encourage folks to tune in to us every week. But we'll be back next Sunday morning.
And so this is Money Secrets with Bill and Mike. Thank you for watching.
See you then.